pointing out some more individual players. Simpkin is a great example of this, where the numbers and everything that you look at him do numbers-wise looks great. But then and I actually think he had a pretty good game yesterday, except for, once again, just the most horrendous of turnovers, lazy sort of kicks that lead to transition goals. And you could see, he's butchered the ball, which has led to a turnover in a very crucial stage. It was it late in the third or early in the fourth? It was one or the other. And it's led to a goal. I think it was a goal, and the Gold Coast were getting on a little run at that point, and we needed to respond. And it was just such poor quality that led to that. And it's your captain. And it just hurts so much because I think his game overall was really good. I really like what Jy offers. He's always going to put his head over the footy. He's going to compete. He's got his little side, his step back, and he's pushing forward, and he kicked a couple of goals in this game, and I really like it. But like the Swans game, and it's 2 weeks in a row now where he's had these, it's almost like a Jaden Stevenson, kick the ball to Buddy and turn your back moment that we just won't forget, where it's been 2 weeks in a row where you've just done this, such a bad looking turnover that's led directly to a goal that you just can't excuse. And it was such a poor turnover. It almost makes the rest of the game. It's just like, now we're negative on Simpkin. Instead of coming out of that game going, he really tried his guts out, he's had a moment which is probably the biggest moment of the game that just was the most deflating moment that we knew that we weren't coming back.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not as harsh on that as everybody else, just because like skill errors happen. I don't think
it's the way it happened though. It's just in a moment that it shouldn't happen. Not in a way where we've fumbled a pass or we've dropped a mark. It's a way where, it's a simple kick over the top or something like that. Or you just have to put a kick out in front of someone, like in the Swans game where, he spins out of the tackle, does all the hard work, and you just got to put it in front of Larky because he had a paddock to run into. And it's so simple, and someone of that level and our captain shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, I completely disagree. I think you're being very, very harsh. I think this is classic Monday morning quarterback, and like we're sitting on a couch and going, you should have hit that kick, when like we can't run out of sight on a dark night.
It's not necessarily not hitting the kick per se, but it ends in such a catastrophic way. That
but that's not all his fault.
I don't agree.
That's not all his fault because
he does it all the time though.
But he's done it twice in 2 weeks, mate. That's not all the time. That's twice in 2 weeks out of 55 possession he had for the
that Simpkin doesn't do that too regularly. You cannot tell me that.
Yeah, but it's not that he's done it twice in 2 weeks, which is terrible. And you're hanging him out to dry. He's leading our BNF at the moment.
Shambles, if that's true. That's the reason
he's leading our BR. Like if you look at our team, like he's been our best player this whole year.
Well, that to me is a perfect case of why the numbers don't tell the whole story of the game, because I think he had a good game. Okay, I said that before. I think he had a good game, but the turnovers that he does are so poor that it leads to easy scores, which you can't accept from a captain of the football club. And I understand that it's those in 2 games, but how many times last year did we see the same thing? It's happened in every game this year, maybe not standing out as much as the 2 in the last couple of weeks. And I understand it's an easy target right now because I think he had a good game. And I agree, his clearance work, his work around the ground, his toughness around the ball, getting on the score sheet, tick, tick, tick. I think other than his turnovers, he's having a good season. But it's the way that the ball gets turned over and the spots that he seems to turn it over for the captain, for a guy that's on a 5-year deal, for the guy who needs to stand up in moments. They've come in times where the game is in the balance and we've got a little run against us and it deflates us. And in those moments, I know it's just the symptom of maybe he has the ball, but it is him and it deflates the team. And his disposal has never been his quality. We've been saying that for years about him. And like I said, I'm not just trying to pick on him per se, but it's these moments in games that that moment there was the moment that I was like, it's not happening today. And it just came at such a crucial time. So look, I'll stop ranting on this, but is the captain, and if you can execute that and get that goal with Larky last week, that would take us within a goal, and you can get that goal to go against the run of a couple of goals in a row that the Gold Coast were extending their lead in early in the fourth. we're in the game, and our captain shouldn't do. Look at, I know it's a different quality of play, but look at Pendlebury will stand up for the Pies, and Cripps, as bad as Carlton are, will stand up in moments like that. And I know he's not that quality of player. He's a really good player, Jy, and I really like him. I love him as a captain. I wanted him as solo captain, and I think he's having a good year. But it's the turnovers at the times he does them in the fashion. I just think it just hurts us so much.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying, Josh, because you feel as though these mistakes have cost us games, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. But he's putting himself in position to influence the game. Like the Sydney one, I was literally sitting at that end, and I could see the whole thing happen. His commitment to the ball, to win the ball, and he did 95% of it well, and he's missed the kick. Yep. Same thing with yesterday. He's done everything right, and he's made a skill error. And skill errors happen. I understand you're saying, well, they happen at bad times. Mate, Michael Jordan missed more game-winning shots than he made. Because he puts himself in the gun, and he's willing to do that.
When they come off, look what happens, and it doesn't come off for Simpkin.
Yeah, but you're picking out one or two examples. Like I can't.
But they're the moments. You only get certain moments in games to have those big times. Like, if Michael Jordan doesn't hit the shot against the Jazz in 97, then you're thinking, oh God, like, it didn't cut. And if that happened consistently through his career, you'd be like, why is he taking the shot? Like
it did happen consistently early in his career. That's what I'm saying, mate. And he said it himself. He's missed so many shots over his career that you have to put yourself in that position consistently. And the fact that he's doing that, like he has the courage to do it. Like where was everybody else is my point. I am defending him because I feel like he's made skill errors, yes, and yes, they've been at crucial times, but he's putting himself in the gun to do them. And you can criticize him for the skill error, yes, but you can't criticize him as like as a player and say that
didn't criticize him as a player.
You did. You said this takes away from his complete career. Like
I didn't say his career. I said his game. I said his game. I did not say his career.
Well, you've talked about the last 2 years.
It's true, but it's true.
You're talking about careers.
I didn't say that his.
You're talking about careers, Josh.
No. You're taking this well out of context. He's made consistent.
I'm just repeating what you're telling me.
Absolutely not. I said that his big skill error yesterday and the week before happened in such a crucial moment that it almost takes away from all the good work, or that's the part that we can focus on. And is that correct? No. But we can't deny it happened in crucial moments where we could have been in games and it swung the momentum of games. Now, I didn't say that he's done that his whole career. What he's done his whole career is have glaring skill errors in whatever points of games that he should tidy up a little bit, being the captain, being a 7-8 year player now. And I think in those moments, you want your captain having the ball, but you don't want your captain having the ball and you sort of being like, oh, I hope he hits this kick. Remember when Boomer Harvey got the ball and you were like, it's going to go straight to someone's chest. When Sheasel gets the ball most of the time, it's going straight to someone's chest. I want to have that confidence in the player with the ball to be able to execute that. Now, I think we can all agree that Jy and his skill errors are one of the things that's let him down every now and then throughout his career. It doesn't always take away from what he does, but those last two games, I just think the moment that the turnover happened, and yes, maybe it is just a small sample size of him, but those last two games, those two moments led to the momentum swings and flattened us and got us out of the games. It's not a reflection of his career, but the last two games, he's had the moments that can lead to a goal for or against, and I just think it's a big moment. So look, I don't want it to come across like I'm bashing him. I think he had a good game. I really, really do. And I think he's had a good season. But it's these spot moments where I wish he could just execute it, because I think it is game-breaking moments. And maybe it's just unlucky that it's been him in that situation. But I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be like Simpkin's got the ball, he's going to find a target, like we used to have with Boomer, Sean Higgins, Daniel Wells got the ball, those sort of players. And you were like, I know that he's going to make the right decision here as the captain. And I don't maybe feel that for Simpkin. I'll question nothing else about his game because he puts his head over it. He gets on the score sheet. I love him as a captain. I love the way he speaks. And I want him as the captain of the footy club. But the last couple of weeks, I just think the way the ball's been turned over and the moment has maybe hurt or taken away from the overall performance that he has delivered. So look, I understand we disagree, and that's okay. That's a little bit of spice for the podcast for everybody. But I just feel that way about it, you know.
Yeah, fair enough. Look, I still think he's he's definitely winning a BNF though. I think he's not had one bad game really.
Interesting. All right, let's go to some anything else in the midfield you'd like to talk about. I mean,